All right.
Hello.
Hello. I don't have mine, but
I have mine.
Okay. We're good.
Have the sequel song.
Okay, so for shame, I'll just admit I haven't finished it yet. I've just been in such a bad reading slump and just so tired that whenever I sit down to read, I just fall asleep. So, but I'm about halfway, but I don't mind spoilers, so we can just go ahead. It'll be fine.
Fair enough. I finished it probably about a month ago now, so we'll see how much I remember.
Yeah.
That's one of my concerns. I was like, I loved it. It was great. I had so many things to say. I forgot all of them.
Yeah. I mean, I get that though, because there's
It's
just.
not happening.
What did you say, Sasha?
It's gonna happen to me as well. Like I finished it 15 days ago, like 2 weeks ago, whatever. And
Yeah.
I still, there are things I know I remember, but I might have forgotten some things. So we shall see.
Yeah.
Hopefully together we can pull all of our knowledge into some kind of coherent discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished it about 2 weeks ago, I think. And like I actually binge read it like in a whole like weekend almost, like most of it, because I was just like, oh my God, I got to get this finished. I was panicking like a little bit, but because this is things huge. Like this is like a brick.
Yeah. That it is.
Yeah. So, and this, I think the third one is like the longest one. So, but yeah. So,
Sorry.
you guys like want to talk about like the ratings like each one of you guys gave for the book, or as much as.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can start. I gave it 5 stars and I loved it. Yeah.
It's a great break. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I gave it 3 stars too. So I ate that book. Like I started that book and I just couldn't stop it. I loved it. So yeah.
So I always have like struggles like with like the first books, like in any fantasy series. I don't always feel like they should be like the best books, because like I feel like you need a starting point. I gave it a 4.5 because like it was really good, but like I always have problems like right at the beginning, like getting hooked like to a fantasy series, because like there's just so much. And there was so many like names in this. Like I was having some serious problems like trying to follow like every last character that was in this. So, but like after I got through like a good portion of it, like I started like knowing more about like who the characters were, but like the initial portion like of trying to retain all the characters was nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
So.
Yeah, I had the same, like for the 80 to 100 first pages. I wasn't sure what was going on, and I just couldn't understand the connections between all the different characters we were reading about. So I was like confused, but at the same time, it really felt like an adult fantasy. You know, when you have the time to actually get to know the characters before everything starts.
Yeah.
And just know the before, during, and I guess a little bit of the after at the end of the series. So to be honest, like the beginning was like I loved it, but I was like, what the heck is going on? Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at this point, I mean, obviously it's not fair because I haven't finished the book, but at this point, I'm not loving it. It's like maybe 3 stars. It's like I'm at like 320, page 320, so that's like literally halfway, and I just still don't feel hooked. I just keep waiting for something to happen, and I just feel like nothing's happening. And like I know stuff is going to happen. I do know that, but it's just I'm not hooked. I'm not feeling connected, I suppose. And that just makes it a bit hard to care. I'm like, okay, well, they found a book. Yay. That kind of stuff. but like I said, I mean, obviously it's not fair because I haven't finished the book, so it's. I mean, it could very well still be a 5-star book because for me, it's all about how I feel when I finish it.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm honestly I'm still struggling a bit. Like I do feel like I know who the characters are now, which I really struggled with in the beginning. I think most of us did. But yeah, I keep hoping it gets better. But so far for me it hasn't really. So
Are you annoyed by the way it is written?
I feel like the
stories-
constant point of view changes kind of like keep pulling me out of the story. Like whenever I feel like, oh wow, it finally gets going, then we shift to another character. And I don't know, because that's usually not something that really bothers me, but I don't know. I think that's part of why I'm not really feeling it at this point. Again, obviously you haven't finished it, so might very well change, but at this point, yeah. Apparently the books get better as the series goes on.
Yeah.
I actually kind of get that. I think I would say maybe like 50, 60%. Like I was like, yeah, it's okay. Like I wouldn't say I'm in love with it. Like it was okay. When I was reading it, I had a good time. I was confused. I was like, I don't understand anything, but it's all right. And then I feel like the later half, that's when you're like, I don't know, Corbin grows up, and I think his story really gets fleshed out a lot, and there's a lot happening in the last chapters. I don't know if we want to go into spoilers, but there is a lot, and it's like really high stakes, and I think that really amps it up.
You can absolutely talk about spoilers. I wouldn't be here if I didn't want spoilers. I don't care about spoilers. So you're absolutely welcome to discuss spoilers if you want to. Just quick disclaimer, I don't care. So don't, stop talking about them for my sake.
I never ruin it for you, but yeah. Well, maybe we can just say like non-spoiler for now for people, and if we can get into spoilers later. But yeah, like that's just how I felt. I'm not sure if you're gonna feel the same way. Obviously, everyone's different, whatever. But it just really works for me. I think Corbin at first I didn't even like him that much, and he was the main character, well, kind of. So you're like, but then he really grew up. He becomes way more interesting. His storyline is really interesting. I think also once okay, I guess I am getting into spoilers. You know that guy, sorry, I forgot everyone's name, but the prince that they think is the promised one, it's like he's not the promised one. I think once he starts doing some evil shit and stuff, like, oh, okay, getting pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think it's Nathair or something, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like Nathair or something. But yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten to that portion yet, but I'm fully convinced he's not the good one. He's not like the bright star from the prophecy, because that would just be like too predictable, and I just don't trust John Gwynne to be that predictable. So I'm fully convinced he's the bad guy. Like,
yeah, I thought it was gonna go either of two ways. Either he's a Rob Stark, so he's like a red herring, gets killed off, or he's actually the evil version of the Bright Star, whatever it's called. So it was like it's either or, I think. And I think we kind of figured out by the end of the book that it's probably the evil version rather than red herring.
Well, like all the speculation, like with him, like, and his ego, like, is far too inflated, and like he's doing like too many sketchy things to make me think like that he would have any chance at being the hero, because Corbin like has no idea, like Corbin has like zero idea, like about like what's going on.
I just think Corbin is so precious. He's so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right from the beginning, I really loved Corbin, his sister, and then like Gar and what's the name of the lady, like the witch,
Sabrina, I think.
Yeah, I really loved that group. So they were my favorites.
Yeah. I mean, I just read a pretty big chunk today, so that's why I still know the names. So yeah, no, at first I was a bit hesitant about Corbin, but then we got to know Nathair, and I was like, nope, I dislike you much more than I dislike Corbin. So Corbin's my new favorite, basically.
Yeah, no, I was quite like, I really liked him from the very beginning. I had like he was my baby, like in the story, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I felt uncomfortable thinking that way because he's only 14, like 13, 14.
Right.
And I was like, so, but yeah, I loved how he evolved. Like,
Yeah, something for me that's a bit unclear, I suppose, is how much time is passing. I mean, I know they say like a 10 night has passed or whatever, but I'm not feeling it, if you know what I mean. Like, he says it, but I'm not really envisioning it. Like, if he said, okay, well, this happens in 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, I believe you too. But I'm sure, like, halfway through the book, I'm sure, like, maybe half a year or something has passed.
There's definitely points where it's like a couple of years. I think it's just like it's more of a setup, and we see Corbin grow up and like everything amp up. I agree that you don't really feel it. They tell you, so you're like, cool. I was just like benchmarking by Corbin's age. I was like, oh, okay, so this is how much, whatever. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It's a bit like, what's happening?
Yeah, I don't feel like I have a grasp of how much time is passing. Like, they're telling you, but I'm like, yeah, it's not really clear. Not clear isn't the right word either. It's just,
you know how much time has passed, but you don't realize it. Like, you
no,
don't.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's telling us how much time has passed, but it's just, that's it. It's not something like, okay, well, now I feel like a lot of time has passed. It's just, okay, well, it could have been 2 days, it could have been 2 weeks, it could have been 2 months. I just don't know. I wouldn't have known if he hadn't told us.
Yeah.
I believe it happens when you have different point of views, because they're not always happening right at the same time, like right at the same day. So I believe that might have confused you.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yeah, sure. That's something that will also, will make it more unclear, at least for me, for this book right now. But yeah.
I mean, I definitely agree, like, with that too, because, like, I was like something like there, and I was like reading, like, one point of view, and then we would switch a point of view, and then like we would go like back to the same point of view, and it's like you realize, like, after like going like back, like from like that previous point of view, like to the next point of view, like that you were at previously, like that they had shifted, and like that previous point of view, like that was in between those two, was taking place at the same time like that one before was taking place. Or like or like backtrack like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I noticed like that like was pretty common like throughout the entire book.
Yeah. I'm kind of impressed for, him keeping everything straight, because I'm just so confused. Imagine having to write this. Having to write all these timelines and everything. It would be so stressful just to keep everything, straight.
And that's just the first book. It's like you have 4 books in total. So yeah, I know. But what about the way it was written? Like, did you have any issue with the writing style? Or like, I found it pretty, like, for an adult fantasy. Like, I have not read an adult fantasy in English in such a long time. And I found it's approachable. Like, it was easy for me to actually like just turn the pages and to continue one more chapter. I don't know how you all felt about that.
I personally love that the chapters are pretty short.
Yeah.
Because I feel just like short chapters encourage you to keep reading. But that's just for me. Because I always struggle with like long chapter, or well, struggle's a big word, but I just love short chapters. And I do agree. I think it's written in a very accessible way. There's just like a couple of words that I just don't know, or that just took me a couple of chapters to figure out. For example, like the word for child they use, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I think it's like bairn or something, like BAIRN. I'm pretty sure that's like Gaelic or something.
I think it's barn, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I
Yeah, they
think,
use that's a word in English as well. I think it's just
Okay.
not used.
I do know it's used more in Scotland. But like those kinds of things, but that's just, I mean, once you figure it out, you have it figured out, and then you know. But I do think it's written in a very accessible way. Like the writing style is just it's very easy to understand.
Yeah, but I know what you mean with the vocabulary. Like it's probably older English inspired, like Viking, Norse, whatever. Like because even like I laughed, but I was like the crazy one, probably the only one who laughed at that. But to break your fast instead of breakfast, break your fast. I knew it was a thing because I already read that before, but I was like, oh my gosh, that I don't know why. I started laughing the first time I read it, and it came like a few times. So I really love that because it helped me actually visualize like the world and to really get into it. Because like even in other kind of fantasy like YA whatever, when the characters have a different way of talking, a different way of expressing themselves, or words there and there, like in Snow Like Ashes, she was like, oh snow instead of oh gosh, whatever. I really loved like that kind of details.
Yeah, I feel like breaking your fast is something that is used often in like this type of fantasy.
Yeah,
but I definitely agree. The first time I saw it, I was like, what? But then, that's probably the original, and then breakfast is probably like the derivative. So
yeah,
but I definitely agree. I just love these kinds of like idioms that show like originality, that is exclusive to this particular world.
Yeah.
Definitely something I wanted to mention, a bit off topic, but I asked on Twitter everyone what they thought. So 50 people voted. 4% said 1 or 2 stars, 10% said 3 stars, 42 said 4 stars, and then 44 said 5 stars. So like I was shocked. I was like, everyone liked it. Like 4 or 5 is good, right? So it's like everyone really liked it.
Yeah, I mean,
So
if like
it's probably would have
80,
been more
what was
apropos in the
86%?
beginning, but oh well.
If like 86% said that they gave it either 4 or 5 stars, that's really good.
Yeah. But what makes you actually love that book? Like, because we said like one did not finish the book, then we have 5 stars and 4.5. But what made you fall in love with the story? What makes you want to continue with it? Like, are the characters or the story or?
Are you asking anyone in particular or just in general?
All of you, like you here and in the chat.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's easy to talk about
That's
what
a
you
good
don't
question.
like. Yeah,
it's true.
It's hard to answer that kind of question because I fell in love immediately with like Corbin and his crew there because I just found their dynamic really believable and cute, and I love that even like the sister, she was like, do I have to tell him the truth when like she heard the first time her parents talking with that guy coming like from nowhere or whatever, and she was like, do I have to tell him the truth or not? And you can see that it is like a real family dynamic, like you trust your family, but sometimes they keep secret from you, but for your own good, or just because they did not figure out what's happening, like they don't know anything. So I really loved their dynamic, etc. And the other thing that intrigued me is the whole thing with like everything is like normal, back to normal after that huge war that happened like 1,000 years ago, whatever, and now the giants are coming back, creatures are coming back, what's going on? So all that really intrigued me.
Yeah.
I really agree. I think characters were a strong point, but sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think that's delay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I didn't hear you until like way in. I was just saying I definitely agree about that I think characters took me a second to like grow on me and for me to like care. I feel like Corbin I found a little annoying at first, but he was a kid, so I had to keep reminding myself I was a kid. I was so confused with him because I felt he acted like a 10-year-old, but then for some reason in my head I read that he was 17. I was like, that just doesn't connect. Then I realized I was wrong. He was like a kid, so it was fine. So characters definitely grew on me, but once they grew on me, I was like really attached. But then also the world, like you said, but also like the possibility. I'm a sucker for prophecies and like deep mythology. So all of that was just so exciting, and like I'm so looking forward to like discovering this prophecy, unfolding all of that. And I really love the world. The world as well was really cool because like the giants are coming back, and it's like, how did we even get rid of giants in the first place? I feel like there's something there, and it's just like really fascinating. So I think it's the world connected like together with the characters.
I really am intrigued like with the prophecy. I love fantasy books with prophecies, you know? Like I get so like, you know, oh, this is like something that's been projected like for a long time and we're finally going to find out like what's going to happen. Like this has been something like that's been in this world. And I guess like it was like the whole fun like of not only like discovering like that there was a long prophecy, but also discovering like that the prophecy is now starting to kind of be fulfilled. Because I don't even know like that most of these characters like knew at the beginning of this book that there was a prophecy. I kind of get like the feeling that all I knew was like the god, like one of the gods had like disappeared and the other like one was imprisoned.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't know there was a prophecy until like the King's Council thingy.
Yeah. And I'm also kind of curious because like in the span of like this book, I feel like that there was a big character development like for Corbin especially. And like I'm really kind of curious to see like where he's going to go next, because like I mean he's already taken a huge stride like in the first book, like as far as like character development goes. And then we have Nathir, who's like, I actually liked Nathir kind of like at the beginning, but I feel like as the book like went on, like I disliked him more.
Yeah.
And then I love his sister, like Siwen, I think her name is. Yeah. Like I really like her too. She's going to be interesting because like she's got some character development. Like she's like above like, like I don't know, she's like more of a warrior woman like than she is just a regular woman. So I really like that.
Yeah, I really see like the warrior side of her like growing even bigger now that she's gonna get involved in whatever is gonna happen to her brother, and her already losing someone she loved.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was kind of I did not expect that. So
no.
Yeah, that was so sad. That was so sad. I'm actually it's interesting you said about the warrior woman because I read The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne first. And in that one, there's 3 main characters. 2 of them are women, but both of them are like such badasses you can't even imagine. Like both of them really complex, really sophisticated female character, and like the archetype of the warrior and the mother, and like it's really interesting. So I was like super like that was my biggest praise probably when I was reading that. I was just like, I love the female characters. And this one, there's really not that many. Like they Siwen, her mom, and like that's pretty much it. And then they said that there's that other group of warriors that actually women are normal warriors and they can fight. So I want to learn more about those. And I really hope Siwen, whatever, she comes somehow to like work with them and become like a warrior or something. I mean, assuming she's not dead, sorry, Femke, but we led to believe she fell to her death at the end.
I know.
So we are assuming she's not dead, I guess. So I really hope she's not, because I feel like there's just so much room for her to grow and for her to be like, just more stronger female characters. I don't know, maybe that's something he reflected on. It was like, oh, let me make my other series like full of like female characters that are badass. But here I was a bit like disappointed, but hopefully she'll grow to be like really cool. She's already cool, but even cool.
Yeah. For me, it just in order to keep reading a series, I just have to be intrigued, basically, either by the characters or the plot or whatever. I mean, I can stand bad writing if the rest is good. I can stand bad characters if the rest is good. It depends. But I mean, for now, for me to keep reading this, to want to keep reading the series, I would definitely need some more action. Just, need some more stuff to happen. And also, more about the prophecy, obviously. Just some more information, because right now we're just getting a lot of like world building, character, establishment and everything. And so I would just want some more actual plot for me to actually really like the book.
Where are you at the book? Like, what just happened where you are?
Let me just check really quickly.
Because for me, the end is more like fast-paced and things are happening.
Yeah.
Than the first like 300 to 400 pages, I would say.
Yeah. No. Nether just got to like Telesar, I think it's called, like the hidden city, and he just proclaimed like, I'm the bright star, and I'm like, no, you're not. But that's where I'm at with the, what are they called? Let me see. Well, the Jahar. I have no idea how to pronounce these names.
Don't ask me.
Sorry, the Airbnb owner came, so I had to step out for a second.
Yeah. No,
But
he's
more
currently in Telesar, in like the hidden city.
Yeah.
Which they found because the the giant and the other dude, they're able to do earth magic, so they could, sense the glamour.
Yep.
And he just, basically went like, I'm the bright star, you should support me. So that's like literally the last chapter I read.
Okay. I would say it gets better, but I obviously love that book.
Yeah.
But it's going to be like not action packed, but more will happen at the end.
Yeah. I'm kind of waiting for that, because I am expecting it. I'm just, waiting for it to actually start happening.
I feel like the last 150 pages was a lot more fast paced, than pretty much the whole of the rest of the book.
Yeah, I mean that tends to happen, but
I would say especially in adult fantasy, when you have so much setting to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's also a reason why I haven't DNF'd it yet, because it's adult fantasy, so I was expecting this. I just wasn't expecting it to take quite so long for it to really get going. I just, expected it like maybe 200 pages or so. And then, just to really kick off. And, I'm already over 300 pages in, and it hasn't really, I mean, stuff is starting to happen, but it hasn't really taken off yet. But I'll definitely finish it. But it's just, circumstances were not ideal. With me falling asleep every time I pick up a book. Not just this one, just like any book.
Yeah. But I just said the comments like that it was John Gwynne's nephew that he has like a booktube channel or whatever. I watch his videos. I didn't know they were related. Like I did not know. I feel stupid. But I did watch a few of his videos. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's maybe why that author actually understands the community and is so active as well. Like I'm not saying that he's not a kind person or whatever, and that he's only doing it because he understands like the business or how it works, but just that maybe as he understands it, he's even more open and reachable and etc. Because I talked to a few people who actually had like proper conversation with him, talking about his book or like other books or whatever. And he's
super approachable. I've heard that before, that he's just, but also, with also this readathon. I mean, I think he also retweeted it and everything when we announced it. So it's super nice that he's also, actively promoting this kind of unofficial stuff.
Yeah.
And yes, what Lauren said, yes, there are a million characters, and I don't even remember half of them.
So many.
But this is like so often my problem with adult fantasy, because I just like very often I just feel like there's too many characters, because everyone's given a name, and I just feel like, yeah, but this person is literally only going to be in this chapter. Why do we need their name and backstory and everything when we're never going to see them again?
But everyone deserves a name, even if you're just gonna cross the road, no?
I'm not saying they don't deserve a name, but I just feel like it makes it unnecessarily complicated. You know, when it's a character you're never going to see again, like, I don't even know, like the inn master or the stable master or whatever. Like, why do we need their entire backstory if we're never going to meet them again?
Yeah.
That's like
Oh
very
my
often.
god. Sorry, it's so funny because I was so confused with all the characters as well. And I was like, why do they all have the same bloody name? And legit, like, I can't see, but it's Mark, Morkant, Makel, Marquin, Mardwell. What the hell? How is it all M? I like wrote them down because I was like, I don't understand. You know how like first rule of naming your character is everyone starts with a different letter, so it's not similar. I was like, I don't know who is who. I got so confused.
Yeah, but like this is my problem with Lord of the Rings as well. There's just so many people with such similar names that I'm just like, but didn't we just meet this guy 2 chapters ago? But then it turns out to be a different guy, and I'm just like, why couldn't he have a name with an L instead of, you know, all of them with an S or something? I just feel like that's just an endless struggle in adult fantasy, because it happens so often, especially in like, you know, this type of epic fantasy.
That because they are
They
meant
need
to
a baby book name. They're what?
they're meant to be reread, you know. So every
Maybe.
time you got something new, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
To be
don't
fair,
know.
I'm sure there's some reason for it, but I was like, for fuck's sake, I don't know who we're talking about. Like there was that guy that was the oh my god, who was he? The guy that knew about Corbin being the prophesized one. That
Dar.
guy. And he had the same name as an evil guy and the same name as a different guy. And I thought they were all the same guy. I was like, look at this man, like getting around all over the world talking to all these people because he was traveling anyway. And then I realized, oh, they're not the same person. And I had to like reframe everything in my mind. But didn't someone say last time before we started that all the other books have like a little handy like synopsis of all the characters and who they are? I feel like that's gonna be really useful. I didn't want to read it this time in case I get spoiled, but otherwise I was like, yes.
Yeah. I guess he knows that it is more than useful, that we need that. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and overall, even the kingdoms. Oh, sorry, I was so confused, and it took me so long to understand. Was it Corbin and like another POV character? They were in the same place. My mind just like blew up. I was like, wait, they know each other. I was like, what? I thought everyone was in a different place or whatever. It's like, no, they know each other.
Whose character? Who's the other one? Like,
there was like a warrior character. Did he get killed in that cave or something? Didn't he know Corbin, or was it someone else?
I think it's Castell or something. What's his name? I think
he definitely knew the guy who, you know, that prince. He has that sidekick that we have his POV.
Yeah,
and then he knew someone else. I don't remember their names, but it's like he knew someone else. That someone was from Corbin's village or something like that, and that was like, what?
Yeah.
Also, how pissed were you when that one guy who had POV then got killed because his uncle got killed as well or something? I was like, why give us POVs and murdering people? That's why I felt like Game of Thrones, just everyone's dead.
Has any of you, like, not you, Femke, but have you started the sequel?
Well, obviously I have.
That's what I'm saying, except for you.
Yeah,
I think that's why you're confused. Just too many books at once. No, I haven't yet, but I brought it with me on the holiday, so hopefully.
Yeah.
And you, Kira, you started it?
Not yet. I'm planning on either doing it like next weekend or like maybe I'll like wait till like the last minute and do it the following weekend. I'm not really sure like when. I mean, I would think like that since like we're just like now having like this one, like we probably like won't have like our next like one until like a couple, like until like a few like weeks into September, I would think. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, probably our timeline shifted a little. I said we can
Yeah.
have like the sprints maybe in 2 weeks' time or something.
Yeah.
Just so we.
Yeah.
So I'll probably start in the sprints. But I logged it all the way to like Europe with me, so I have to read it. Like I put it in my suitcase. I was like, I'm gonna read this book because I'm only coming back to the UK in like the 4th of September or something. So. Yeah.
I'm really excited like though to see like where this is going to go next because just the characters like Corbin, like and I love Storm. Oh my god.
Yes. I was literally crying when the cubs were trampled. I was like, no. It was like the worst part
Chapter
of the book.
28. Chapter 28.
I was like, no. Like,
Oh,
not the
man.
poor ladies.
I was so worried they're gonna kill Storm. Because like, when so later in the book she has to, oh my god, they did the whole trope of like gotta throw rocks at the dog so the dog runs away so the village doesn't kill him, which they done in like Game of Thrones, and I feel like I've seen it around. I was like, stop it, you're breaking my heart. Because like the wolf was like, I don't want to go, and Carmen was like, but you have to go. So I was there like why? And then when she like followed him and stuff, I was like, oh my god, Storm #1, freaking such a badass. So I was so happy, but I'm so scared she's gonna die before the end of this book series. I'm so worried for her.
See, I'm usually the type of person, I won't bat an eye if a person dies, but don't kill the dog. Like, or the horse, or the cat, or the bird. I don't care. Don't kill the animal companion because I can't deal with that.
I recently found out there's this website called Does the Dog Die? And it's like whether the animal dies in the book, basically, because people were so upset over this that someone made a website. And you can just see so that you know if it's not for you. If you're like can't handle it or something, you don't have to read the book or something. So I thought that was really interesting. I was like, wow.
I can handle it, but I'll just be mad at the rest of the book. It might actually just be a reason for me not to finish the rest of the series if there is like more books or anything. I hate it when they do that, especially if it really doesn't serve a point, which it very often doesn't. What reason could there be to kill the dog? The dog didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
I feel
But
like the
I'm not
only
sure, Go ahead, Kira. Sorry.
I feel like the only like reason like why they would like an author does that is like they want you to feel the pain of it.
Yeah. And like character development, because like, they'll get a fire lit under their butt because a bad guy killed my dog, but no. Just invent something else, but stop killing the dogs.
I mean, you guys have seen John Wick, right?
No.
No.
How dare they? That's ass when they killed the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Go on a killing spree and you kill my dog.
Yep.
Also,
Actually,
that's such
like
a good movie.
the whole like John Wick franchise was started because somebody killed his dog.
Okay. Oh damn. I mean,
yeah. So this mafioso kills his dog, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go kill you and everyone in my way," and that's literally the reason. Because the dog was from his ex-wife who died, so he's very attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a puppy as well, and so cute. It was so sad.
Like, to be honest, I hated Game of Thrones most for basically killing all the dire wolves.
Yeah, that was very sad. At least Arya's direwolf has her super pack or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but like first with just Arya just telling, like Nymeria, like, no, you have to go, and then Lady being killed, and then I was like, no.
Yeah, that was horrible. But that's what made me think of Game of Thrones, like while reading that book. Like, what? Go ahead. What also?
Well, because he has that horse as well, and that horse saved his life, and then we leave that burning building, and they don't even mention the horse. I was pissed because they left the whole village because it burned down because there was like a siege at the end of the book, and they didn't even mention the horse. I was like, bro, this horse saved your life. What are you talking? Like, how is that not even a fault? Like, I was a bit pissed. I hope it turns out they have the horse or something. I was so upset. I was like, why are you not talking about the horse? Shield is her name, I think. Yeah. Or his.
Shield. Yeah. Shield. Yeah, because he didn't want to her or her right away. So he waited and he got the name. And he saved his life. So I like that. So, but that was also like, I was sad about them killing all like the wolves, and then I was happy that they did not, because she saved him, etc. And then again, like sad because he had to send her away, etc. So it was like a roller coaster for me. I was like,
yeah, I'm still at the point where the horse doesn't have a name yet. So for me, it's still the horse.
Yeah, I mean, the horse is definitely not on the level of Storm, but I feel like there's some emotional connection because the horse like protects her, Corbin, from that bully, whatever his name is. So I thought the horse deserved at least a mention at the end, that they left it in a burning like castle or whatever. But okay, maybe they took it. I just didn't notice, but I don't think they.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like, have a care for your fucking horse. Like, hello.
You better have cool animal sidekicks and make me care about them. At least mention them if you leave them to die.
Yeah, at least tell me if you actually let them die or not.
Yeah, hopefully the horse gets mentioned in the next book.
To be fair, I thought it was more than a horse at one point. I don't know why. I was like, no, that's not just a horse. We'll see, like, I don't know, but that's maybe just my brain, like, overthinking it or whatever, or wanting to be even more like fantasy. But I was like, that's not just a horse.
Yeah. I was, like, to be honest, I was also just wanted a bit more of that as well, because, in chapter 1 or something, very early in the book, they mention, like, the book of earth magic or something. Like, Evnis, no idea how to pronounce it, has to find that book. And I was like, well, that's going to be, most of the plot, him tracking down the book. And then, like, chapter 5, I found the book. And I was like, well, that was disappointing. And also with, like, the white worm and everything, I just wanted more of that, and it was just over so quickly. And I just want a bit more depth there, but it was just, barely touched upon, and then we moved on to a different point of view. But like I said, I think that's also part of why I don't feel immersed. Because every time I start to feel like, well, now we're getting there, and then it's like POV change, and I'm like, well, now we're back to square one.
That is so true. There was this
for you.
Whoa, that was all of you at the same time.
You go first, Sasha.
I was just saying that's maybe something that doesn't work for you. Because for me, like, whenever I get interest in something, if it stops, I get so frustrated that I want to continue to reread about it again. But for you, it's like more than frustration.
I don't usually mind that. I really don't usually mind POV changes, so I don't know why it's bothering me now with this book. Because it's really not something that usually bothers me, especially not here with these short chapters. Like, there's absolutely no reason it should bother me, because it never has before, and I don't know why it's bothering me, and that's bothering me. It's bothering me that I don't know why it's bothering me.
Yeah. I wouldn't say, like, it really bothered me, but I definitely did feel like there was some chapters that was so exciting, and then it just kind of cuts, and you're like, this is not exciting, and you're like, oh, okay. But for me, like, one chapter that I really felt like they could have done more. So, there's that one guy who has this this older man that takes care of him. It's not his actual uncle, but it's kind of. And they both join that giant killing troop.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who I'm talking about? So at the beginning of the book, him and his uncle, whatever, protector,
Yeah.
they get chased down by the giants, and they're like, it's just the two of them. They're on horses. They're like running away. And I thought that was I was just like, oh my God. Like at the edge of my seat, so excited. And then you get there to the end of the chapter, and they see that the prince or whoever came, and they're going to save him. And I was like, cool battle scene. And they didn't do that. They were just cut, and then we didn't get back to them for like 10 chapters or something. And I was like, I was really interested in that, and I felt really shortchanged. I wish we like got back to it quicker. And they didn't even mention the battle much. They were like, "Oh yeah, it was over once they came. It was fine." I was like, I was so invested. What are you doing? So a couple times like that, I wish that it was a bit more.
Yeah, I just have a question. Do you know how much a score of something is? Because there was like 5 score of giants, and I have no idea how much a score is. Is it like 10 people? Is it like 15? I have no idea.
I don't know. I thought it was just like a school of fish or something. You know, it's like it's not a specific number, but it's just a word for a group. But I might be wrong. Maybe it's a specific number.
A score is a group of 20.
Cool. That's
Apparently.
good to know.
I should have Googled this before, but I was just
I
reminded.
thought it just meant a lot. I was like, cool, a lot.
No, apparently like, a score is 20. So I'm pretty sure he's going to use that in other books. So just remember that if they say like 4 score giants, it's 80 giants.
That is good to know.
Apparently you knew this. I had no idea, but maybe that's also because, English is not my native language, and these types of words aren't really taught. At least I wasn't taught them.
Yeah. I've actually Googled it and then forgot about it. So.
Oh. Judith also Googled it.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google saves the day.
Yeah. I just thought it was a lot of people. That's like, I kind of like just like went with it. It's like, okay, score is just probably like a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legit what I thought. I always thought scores of men would just meant a bunch. I don't know, like a lot.
No, I figured it meant like a specific number, because at some point they mentioned it was like 500 against 5 score or something, and I was like, well, you can't really say 5 times a bunch of people. That's just still very vague.
Maybe you can.
I mean, I suppose you can, but it's really not. It doesn't bring clarity if you say like 5 times a bunch of people.
Yeah. Especially because there was an actual number before that. You know, like it was 5,000 versus a bunch. So,
yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I'd seen the term like often before, and then I'll just keep reading and think like, oh, I'll just have to Google this later. And then I don't Google it, and then I just keep reading until I come across it again, and just like, oh, right, I have to Google this, and then keep reading. And then, keep repeating until you still don't know how much a score is. But I feel like that's one of those terms, like, breaking your fast. These are just the types of, like fantasy words.
I just love breaking your fast. I don't know why. I just love it.
Yeah.
I remember hearing for the first time in my mind being completely blown, because breakfast.
Yeah.
I was like, and that took me a second, and I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense because like you don't eat like while you're sleeping, so like in the morning you have to break your fast that you had like throughout the night. So I'm kind of like, yeah,
it definitely makes sense once you think about it, but it's just, for me, it's not something I would have thought of on my own.
No.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's just one of those words like, okay, well, first meal of the day usually is breakfast. No questions asked, no questions where breakfast even comes from, like who thought of the word breakfast.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're kind of, losing track. So is there anything else anyone wants to discuss? Characters, plot, pacing, writing. I don't know. Whatever.
I want to talk
I'm
about
actually
Gar.
super excited for the sequel. No, go ahead. What?
Okay,
I really want. I really
No,
want.
you go ahead. I was just gonna say I'm excited for the sequel.
I'm really like wanting to discuss Gar because like there's some shady stuff going on with him, but like not shady like in a bad way, like shady like in why is it that his fighting style is so different from anything else? And like you know it because like when Corbin like goes like for his like first like day like his orientation like in the field, like they're just like, well, how do you know like this? This is like the different style like than any of us use. Like where did you learn this stuff? And I'm kind of like, what's going on here?
But didn't we learn he's a part of those like special warriors that have women warriors, and he's like a spy? So he was placed there by that guy that came that knew about Corbin. Or am I thinking of a different character?
Is Gar one of? Is he part of like the Jahar? Like the ones in the hidden castle?
I think Gar is the blacksmith, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No.
he's not the blacksmith.
I think
Gar's the stable master.
Yeah,
sorry, stable master. Yes, Corbin's dad's yes. No, stable
Yeah.
master. I think wasn't it say that he's Jahar or something?
Yeah, I think it's or is he? Because I was thinking like, there's something shady about you. Because I haven't reached that part yet, but
it made
Yeah,
me think.
so he came from that special hidden city. I think they said that because wasn't there that
Yeah.
other guy that came later in the book and he was like, oh no, he's gonna recognize me. And then once the war happened or whatever, siege, I thought we found out that he was. That's why I'm really excited because I feel like we're gonna learn more about these hidden Jahar people, whatever their name is, and their warrior woman and all that. So
He gave me that Aragon vibes. Like when Aragon gets trained, but that's the guy who knows a lot but doesn't say where he got it from, where he learned it, etc. He really gave me that vibe.
Yeah. I think overall, like the next book, I feel like it's gonna go really epic because this was a lot of setup. Like a lot happened towards the end, but it's also a lot of setup. And I think this one's gonna be like super epic, and Corbin's gonna grow to be just this like I don't know if you read Dune, but you know the main character in Dune kind of becomes a messiah. Oh, that's so cute. Main character in Dune becomes like basically messiah or whatever. I feel like Corbin has the potential, but then I feel like John Gwynne is more subversive than that. So I don't know where we're going with it. I don't even know if I think right that he's submersive. I don't know anything about him, but that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
I want to get more in depth in the sequel. Like I don't know if I want more action or whatever, but I want to understand more. I want to link everything like all together.
Like that's also kind of what I have. I just want to know more and have more backstory and know more of the history. So you can make all those connections between the prophecy and the stories and the countries and the people and
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen in this. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be so exciting because like John Gwynne kind of proved to us that he's not scared to like kill important characters because like a lot of people died towards the end, and I was so gutted because like you said, it was about family and like the family bonds were quite strong, and I really I had something I wanted to talk about or like mention. I guess it's just I really liked how there was so many like father figures and all of them were different, and like I feel like some male written fantasy, high fantasy can be a little bit like strong men, haha, but no like soft characters or whatever. But like even Corbin's dad, he loved him so much, he was super supportive, all of that. I really loved seeing that, and I loved how all these different father figures were so different from each other, but a lot of them were actually supportive and nice. So it's just like we have all these family bonds and stuff, so when people die it's like no.
Yeah.
At one point, I was like, "That's not his dad. That's not his mom." For Corbin, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaning toward that as well, but on the other hand, I don't know. I would like it if that wasn't the case because I feel like that's like so often the case that the child turns out not to be, the child of the people he was raised by. Yeah. So I'm just kind of hoping that he is like, I believe they're called Thanon and Gwyneth, that he is their actual biological son.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping for that, but I don't know.
Have any of you guys read the any of the Wheel of Time books at all?
I tried and I quit 300 pages in.
I got through the first one and like I started the second one and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. So I just never went back. But Corbin actually gave me like Randall Thor vibes, like the main character, like and there was like a whole prophecy like for him also, and I kind of got Randall Thor vibes like a little bit from Corbin because like Randall Thor started out like really like innocent and like really like like didn't like know anything about a world. He came from like a very small village and he just didn't know anything, and then like he goes like out into the world and just kind of starts discovering like more about himself, like more about like the evil things like that are lurking. And I feel like really like big connection like with Corbin, like as far as like that main character like epic proportions like role that we're going to be going into.
Yeah, but like to be, I tried reading The Wheel of Time. The Eye of the World. I mean, and I think I quit like 300 pages in because I was so bored. I was so bored, and I was just like, nope, I'm not going to do this to myself. But like for those 300 pages, I really felt like it was kind of like Lord of the Rings 2.0, because Randall really reminded me of Frodo in that sense, because Frodo's also really innocent, never been out of the Shire and everything, and just discovering all the evil stuff in the world as well.
Yeah.
And also, like the small village that doesn't get a lot of outsiders, and it's just kind of like this stereotypical epic fantasy beginning, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I just feel like that's just the starting point for so many of these epic fantasy stories.
Yeah.
This book was written like 10 years ago, so it's not like it's new.
No.
But yeah.
I definitely think you should check out Shadow of the Gods, cause it's a way more fast-paced. So hopefully it's not gonna be. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was different. It was a lot. It was 3 main perspectives. So first of all, it wasn't as confusing. Although 2 of the perspectives, the people were very different, but they were both in a group of like basic, not bandits, but just like a group of warriors. So I was a bit confused there. But overall, I think it was a bit more fast paced. So maybe if you prefer that, I think that was a good one. But that one's, I really enjoyed that one as well. I think I actually preferred Malice though.
I have it with me, but I'm scared I'm gonna mix up the 2 series.
I wouldn't.
So
I wouldn't start it now, because Wheel of Time I think has even more characters than this one.
I think
because I counted, and the edition I had, I sold them, so I can't show them anymore. But the edition I had, like the prologue, had like over 40 characters, and that was just
Wheel of Time.
Yeah,
I think we're talking about Shadow of the Gods, right?
Oh, sorry, no. Ignore my previous minute of speech. I'm sorry.
No, but I get it, because it's not identical word, but it's similar vibe. So I feel like you could get confused. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's definitely. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I just think that's like the starting point for lots of these epic fantasy stories. And I just think it kind of started with Tolkien, with Lord of the Rings, well, The Hobbit technically, because obviously Bilbo was very innocent as well. I mean, he didn't know much of the world either. And it's not a bad thing, but it's just, for most of the epic fantasies I've read, it starts kind of like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, lots of things seems like not, I don't want to say cliche, but as you said, like stereotypical, whatever the word is in proper English. But I feel like it felt different. I don't know why. It felt different.
No, but if you look very factually, I mean, Corbin is the innocent boy in like the small town that doesn't get a lot of outsiders, in that sense. But obviously every book has a different vibe. Absolutely.
I do think that he's tried, like, he's subverting some of it, especially like even with the prophecy, and the fact that they think they found their person, but then that's not true. I mean, I don't know how subversive that is. I don't know. It did feel fresh to me. I understand what you're saying, though. It is a similar setup, but I guess it's just all about the execution. I think for me, what I would say is makes it a little bit different is the character work, because I feel like a lot of these epic fantasies that are older, the characters are not like it's about what's happening to them rather than their like personal journeys and stuff like that. Like their character development might be a bit sacrificed for like the big plot. Like even in Tolkien, like the characters are a little bit of archetypes, and that's fine. That's the story he's saying. But like here, it's like I feel like we get to know the characters really well and like kind of get into their psyche and all of that. So maybe that's what felt a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty normal time.
Also, it depends obviously on where your village is located. If your village is located along a main road to a big city, it would be different. But these are very often surrounded by woods or something like that.
I mean, I love that kind of vibes that like you have the hero, the main character, like coming from nowhere.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, but again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it is a thing, and make of it what you want. I don't dislike it. I did dislike it in The Eye of the World, but that's probably just because I disliked the book, just most of it, because I was so bored. But like for me, it's not per se a trope that I dislike, or a stereotype, or archetype, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I heard like The Eye of the World, like though, actually picks up like after chapter 10, like in the second book, and that's and I stopped on chapter 9.
Oh.
So I'm kind of like, do I go back and I reattempt this? I don't know.
If you feel like it, you could. If you don't feel like it, don't.
I want to read the first book before the TV series. So.
Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I mean, like, I don't know, like, I wonder, like, if they're good. Ideally, like, I think that they should do like one season per book, because like there's like, and like you have like 15 seasons, like you're good, right? You have so much material like off that. Yeah. But they like sometimes like they rush them along, so like to get into the action portions, which is understandable, but it doesn't do the books justice if they do that, if they rush it.
Yeah. But I feel like they did that really well with like the first season of Game of Thrones, because honestly, like looking back, the first season of Game of Thrones isn't all that action packed. It's just a lot of world building, establishing characters and relationships and all that. And I didn't hate that, but I mean, it has to be done well in order for that to work. And I feel like lots of series try it, but don't really succeed.
Yeah.
Well, this time it worked for me.
Yeah.
I know. So what was it? I know, like I mentioned like the Blade itself like before, but like that's a trilogy, the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, and I swear it took like us, what was it, 2 books, the first 2 books like were all set up for the last book. It took forever, and it felt like there was no point until we got to the last book. But like this, like I feel like had like a better job of like doing like the points. Like there was like, it felt like that there was an actual point to this. So I feel like that kind of like also propelled me like forward as far as like wanting to continue on like, with it and being motivated like to go through it. But
yeah, but after 300 to 400 pages, you get to the point. Like you need like those 300 to 400 pages first.
I'm actually surprised how much they did in this first book. I feel like a lot of first books, they would not take it as far as they did. They really like took it far. So I was like, but yeah, you're right. It's only like 300-400 pages in, but it did quite a lot actually for a first book. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Judith says that you really have to be in the mood for it, and I completely agree with that. Completely.
Yeah.
Are talking about the other book or Malice?
I
I
think
think the medieval towns, because she talked about that before.
yeah.
Or just the archetype, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. Like I'm more excited about this than I am about Wheel of Time. I know that would probably make some very big Wheel of Time fans very upset. Don't hate me, but like yeah, so I'm more excited about this than I'm about Wheel of Time at this point. I really wish like that they would do like more adaptations, like honestly, like for fantasy, like large fantasy series. Like I don't think they do enough fantasy adaptations.
But it's just that it is scary to do like a huge series, a huge book, like an adaptation for them, because you have to select what's gonna be in the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also
for sure you're gonna disappoint people.
Yeah,
So
and I
that's-
also feel like there might be some fear because obviously if you start adapting a 15-book series, you just don't know if you're going to be able to make those 15 seasons, for example.
Exactly.
Because, that's 15 years, realistically speaking, and are you going to get enough money, enough viewers to be able to do that? And I do get why they would be hesitant to start that. And I mean, I look at Game of Thrones. I just think it's such a weird phenomenon. Game of Thrones was everything everyone talked about for like the first 6 years, 7 years, even up until the last season. And then the last season came out. How often have you heard about Game of Thrones in the last month? Because honestly,
they really killed it.
Mm-hmm.
it's just disappeared. It hardly even exists anymore. Feels like it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I just
definitely. They didn't stick the landing, I feel like. So even now, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna rewatch it all from beginning. Then this final season happened. I was like, never mind. I ain't
I was
wasting my
so
time.
mad. I spent like 8 years of my life so excited for that, and then they finished it like that. I was so mad.
Yeah, but you're right. It is a big like commitment. That's why they want something with an existing fan base like Wheel of Time. And I am excited because I honestly probably won't make it through more than first book, realistically. So I'm just like, the show will tell me what's up.
Yeah. That's what I'm kind of like looking forward to too. Because sometimes
I am excited for the show, but I just couldn't deal with the book. It was just too boring for me. But to be fair, I also couldn't really get through Lord of the Rings, so I listened to those on audio, while reading along.
Oh, I love this book. But talking about adaptations, did you know that the Wayward Children series is gonna be a show?
Yes.
I think I've heard
saw
of
it because you shared it, actually.
Yes.
I don't know if it was on Twitter or Instagram or wherever, but I know it because you shared it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. But yeah,
I
that's
feel like it's gonna be interesting. That's a good show. It's like a series to adapt because like every episode can be literally so different. I feel like it would work as well, so like a animated show or something, because you could do all kind of crazy stuff. It's like Mistborn.
yeah.
I think that would make a perfect animation, like an anime style
Yeah.
animation. This is just ridiculous. It would look a bit ridiculous with actual people, but like animation, you can make them jump crazy and be fun. It's so much fun. Like someone make it happen.
I need to reread Mistborn, but I don't want to go through another reading slump.
Oh God.
I mean, I'm still in the middle of one. I'm just fighting to get out of it, and it's not working. But I have a plan. Like when I finish Malice, I'll be picking up this one because I should have read it last month and I didn't. And I'm just, actively trying to catch up on what I should have read the last couple of months, including Malice.
That's all right. We've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
I've only read 2 books this month, but I'm on a holiday. I was like, I'm not forcing myself to read. Or not forcing. I'm just like, if I have time, great. But if not, that's fine too.
Yeah. I just kind of feel like I just need to force myself a little bit. Because like I know that if I'm not going to read, I'll never be in the mood for it, and I just need to finish a book on a high note, and then I'll just want to read something. I know myself, but yeah, reading Malice in the middle of a reading slump is probably not the best idea.
No, it's so dense. It's
Yeah,
Mm.
but I mean, it'll be fine. I'll finish it hopefully tomorrow. I have great hopes. Just dedicating this weekend to reading it. But yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard about like them finishing up like with. I heard like that Brandon Sanderson's actually like writing the last book for the Mistborn era 2, which is the only thing I'm waiting on to start the Mistborn 2 era stuff.
I thought it was already over. How many books in the Mistborn era too?
4. He's got three out right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was twice, like 3 books. Oh, okay.
But
I
is
thought that's
this
true.
like the Way of Kings? Is that like Mistborn era 2 or not?
They're both in the same area, like this, like the world's called the Cosmere, like and so Mistborn and what was it? Like a bunch of his books like are in like the same universe.
Yeah.
And but like Mistborn like is like separate from the Way of Kings.
Okay.
So and actually like the Mistborn era 2 books are a lot shorter each, and I heard that he's also going to be doing a Mistborn era 3 at some point too, which I'm hoping, because like I know Mistborn era 2 is like more like more, they have guns in there, and like so I can only like imagine like like the metal stuff like that's going on like with the guns, but I have my fingers crossed. Like I would love to see like something like that, like a science fiction like in space or something like that. Like I hope that's what they go with. I would love that. If they did Mistborn era 3 like in space, please give me Mistborn era 3 in space.
That'd be a big departure, but it could work.
I mean, I still have to start era 1. I mean, I have like the Final Empire right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, don't start it now. That's gonna put you in the reading slump of
I'm
reading
not starting
slumps.
it now. Trust, I'm not starting it now. No.
I like so the first book I liked, but only the ending. Well, no, the first book I liked, but it was slow. The second book, I was like, this is the slowest fucking bullshit I've ever read. And then the ending was so freaking good. I was like, I need the next book. And then the third book was actually, all of it was good, I think. The whole book was good. I was like, oh, finally. I don't know. I just think he's so good at like the ending and the finale in the last act. But the build-up is just so slow, and you're there like, fuck's sake, we're talking about the same thing for the 5th time. Leave me alone. Yeah. That's my feelings.
But I already kind of had that with Skyward, because that's the only Brandon Sanderson book I've read, and I just feel like, the middle part is just too much of the same thing. Like, yes, I know they're in a flight simulator by now. I know. Can we move on, please? And that's like that book's only like 450 pages or something. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I haven't read Skyward, but I can imagine it's even worse in Mistborn because it's bigger and it's high fantasy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so much meandering. It's just. But this third one was so good. Overall, I would still recommend it. It's really, really good. But it's like you need to be in the mood and you need patience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not one of my strong suits.
I would recommend the audiobook actually. It's like 30 hours or something crazy, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got my stepdad hooked on Mistborn. He's re-listening to the series again.
Nice.
Again. So.
Yeah, I just think like the audiobook makes it that there's some boring parts you can just be like cleaning or whatever, just like listening to it.
Yeah.
Have you guys read Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson?
I want to.
Yeah.
I want to, but he's not released the sequel, right? So it's just like it's gonna be so much waiting.
the nice thing about like, you know, all of his books like can be a standalone or like a beginning of a series. Like I love that about him. But Nightblood, actually, like I really loved Warbreaker because Nightblood is like this sword with a sense of humor. And
Nice.
I love Nightblood so much. Like Nightblood is like one of the best characters. And it's like and it's an inanimate object with a personality. I love it.
That sounds really
Oh.
fun.
But I have that with Skyward as well, because there's like the what's it called? Spaceship thing.
Yes.
The sentient spaceship, and it just keeps talking about mushrooms. And I just think it's the absolute best thing. I love it so much.
Yeah, if you like that, you'll love Nightblood.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, like I've heard like rumors like though like that Nightblood, because like Warbreaker's also like in the Cosmere, and I've heard like that Nightblood like makes references like they reference like Nightblood kind of, but like without calling him like Nightblood, like in the Way of King series. So yeah.
I have the Way of Kings audiobook, but it's over 40 hours long, and I'm like, I'm not ready. So fake.
I mean, I can definitely see why.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So, I don't know, like, I guess, like, you know, stay tuned, like, on Twitter, if you guys have your Twitter, like, for the next announcement. Like, we're going to be doing reading sprints probably, like, in a couple of weeks on one of these other lovely ladies' channels. Their links are linked down in below, so go subscribe to them. Thank you to whoever joined us for our live show to discuss this. Thank you.
Sorry again
It's
for being a bad
fun.
host and not even finishing the book on time.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry. But I will finish the other one on time, I promise.
It's all right. It's all good. You were a good sport about the spoilers, so that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably like the person that actively goes looking for spoilers, so I legit don't care about the spoilers.
Just prepare yourself for emotion, turmoil, and pain.
I'm waiting for it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming your way.
Can anybody tell me a page number where I should feel emotion?
Oh, I don't have my book, but I definitely have a tab.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite. I would say, was it the last 200 pages? No, it was like really like thing after thing after thing. But that's just me guesstimating. So, oh, thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for commenting and stuff.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
All right, so thank you guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.